Good afternoon, everyone. I want to talk about the topic about a speech that I delivered for a speech competition not too long ago. It got me second place out of two people. But still, some of you might find this interesting. So I wanted to share how our county, Cameron County, here in Deep South Texas, got its name. Funny thing is that if you take a dive into the annals of our county's history, you will never, ever find the name Cameron. Not in Brownsville history, not in Harlingen history, not in South Padre Island history, not in Port Isabel or Point Isabel history. You will never find the name Cameron. So who the heck is our county named after? Well, let me introduce you to Mad Lad Ewan Cameron. Mr. Cameron was born in Scotland, and he traveled in Texas in the 1830s to fight for Texas Revolution. Who knows why exactly? Maybe he wanted some action, some adventure, or a change of scenery, opportunity. No one knows. The point is, this Scottish mad lad wanted to fight for Texas. He crossed the Atlantic to fight for Texas just because he wanted to. After Texas won her independence and became a republic, there was still some bickering going back and forth between the Texans and the Mexicans regarding where exactly the border between them should be. Texas President Sam Houston said, Texas is so big and cool, y'all. Our border is down south at the Rio Grande. What are you going to do about it, Santana? Well, Mexican President Santana said, Sam, brother, you're out of your mind. The border is clearly at the Nueces River up in Corpus Christi. That was a huge discrepancy of opinions right there. Naturally, there were quite a few little battles and skirmishes. Nothing to start a new war over, but there were quite a few little battles going on in the disputed territory. All over what is now South Texas, including this very, very important one, make a special note, where Mr. Ewan Cameron used some of his clever strategies to defeat the Mexican general General Canales at the Battle of Fort Lipantitlan. Keep that in mind, it's an important plot point. Cameron beats Canales. Eventually, the Texans moved over to Laredo, then considered still Mexico because it was in the disputed territory, and they captured it. The Texans captured Laredo, but they suffered heavy losses. The Texas leadership was saying, gentlemen, listen to me. The Mexicans, they have horses, they have heavy weapons, they have trained soldiers. Meanwhile, we're a group of ragtag randos who just want some more land. Why don't we go back home, we live to fight another day to get more supplies, and maybe come back another day. What do y'all say? Ewan Cameron said, nah, screw you, sir. I'm gonna keep on going south into Mexico for gold and glory. We're here to plunder land for the liberty of Texas. Who's with me? 170 soldiers basically rebelled against the Texas leadership and continued going south of the river from Laredo. Meanwhile, everyone else who was responsible, relatively speaking, responsible, they went back home. Cameron and a whole bunch of other dudes went from Laredo south to what is now Starr County, and they crossed the river to the Mexican city of Mier. This is what's called in history the Mier Expedition. Just like in Laredo, they captured the city, they sacked it, they plundered it, they looted it, they won! But then the Mexicans showed up a couple days later on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning, one of those. Then they captured the Texans, imprisoned them in Matamoros for a few days. Then they carted them over to Mexico City to await their trial. Well, Mr. Cameron, noticing how the Mexicans were distracted at one point, said, guys, come on, now's our chance. Let's run. Let's book it. It's freedom. Let's beat it. So they ran away. They were free. They made it. They evaded nope. The Mexicans came on their horses and they recaptured them. That's one more crime added to their list of charges. They were brought before Santana, where he declared that for the crimes of killing Mexican soldiers, destroying Mexican property, plundering Mexican cities, and just now evading arrest, every 10th soldier would be executed by fusilamiento, death by Mexican firing squad. In order to decide who would live and who would die, the Mexicans, they got a jar and they filled it with white beans. What was it? 159 white beans and 17 black beans. Every soldier would take a turn drawing a bean. If he got a white bean, he lived. If he got a black bean, he would die. Eventually it came our buddy Cameron's turn to draw his hand in the jar, and he got a white bean. But General Canales was there, and he said, "Hey, I remember you, Capitan Cameron. You were the one who embarrassed me, who humiliated us at Fort Lipantitlan. I see you just got a white bean, but I'm gonna tell Santana that you got a black bean. Ha!" Ni modo. But Cameron, being very gung-ho, assumed that he would die for Texas. And he got in line with all the other soldiers that got a black bean. As part of the fusilamiento, they sent over a Mexican priest in order to confess their sins. So they could at least be executed with a clean slate and go straight to heaven, right? Cameron was the only one who denied having his sins confessed. I don't know, he probably thought, oh, there's no hope for me, I know where I'm going. He also denied being blindfolded, proudly yelling, "For the liberty of Texas, Ewan Cameron is not afraid to look at death in the eye." Wow. Well, eventually, it came his turn to be put up against the wall. The Mexican soldiers, they prepared their guns. They all yelled, "Preparen! Apunten!" Then, right before they fired, Ewan Cameron tore open his linen shirt, revealing his big ol' hairy chest, and he yelled, "Fuego!" Legendary last word. Even though Cameron himself never actually set foot in what is now Cameron County, I guess whoever was naming the Texas counties wanted to name ours for a martyr, so to speak, for the Texan cause. But Cameron's death could have been prevented if he wasn't too caught up with gold and glory and greed. But no, the Laredo spoils are too small for me. I gotta have more. My fellow viewers and subscribers, never let greed lead the way. But if you're ever in an event where it ends in your untimely departure, destruction, or any sort of negative circumstance, don't be afraid to be like Mr. Ewan Cameron, so you could leave in style. This has been a true story from South Texas or North Mexico. Have a good one. Take care. Kick ass.